Welcome to Little Birdie. I'm your host, Scoot, joined by Dicko, and we've got a big new in, Samantha Todd. Welcome to the team.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Yeah, it's great to have you. A little bit of class and
sophistication.
Yeah, and it's someone just to help me manage Jack through this time of quitting the darts. So,
been there, done that. It's tough.
You have?
I did. Yeah, I smoked when I lived in France for a bit.
Oh, just had to drop the France in there early.
Maybe.
Oh, wow. So many levels to Sammy, and that's what we like about our recent skiing trip to Japan. But you've been an on-course bookmaker and now you're working from home.
Yeah, it's been a tough switch. It's like learning to play poker person to person, live sort of format where you can read people and you can read the play going on, and now you're doing it blind. So bit of a transition period, but so far so good.
Is the cave set up to perfect standards right now, or are you still adjusting?
It's a lot of monitors. It's a lot of monitors. Yeah. Wouldn't mind a little bit more sports memorabilia, maybe a bar fridge, but I think that's not meant to be not allowed.
Anything else we should touch on?
Oh, well, I think we'll save, a deeper dive into Sammy's past for the next episode. We've got a chock-a-block episode this week. We've got Robbie Waterhouse on the show. We've got plenty of horse racing all over the shop. Sydney Carnival's up and coming.
Pistol Pete doing a little bit of Sydney. Rob Scurry comes on. He'll cover off 2 extra races at Sydney and also give us a little tip on the wine. Then we've got our man Ross Brodie comes on. Gives us a little bit of a strong push for a new streaming service, as well as these top 5 ice creams, which is very controversial. Then we've got Robbie Waterhouse. Then Shane Adair does Adelaide, finishing off with the curl man up in Doomben. I think he's going to declare a couple.
Geez, got more tips than a can of asparagus here, boys.
Chock-a-block. And
then in the know with the snow.
And a little birdie tells me, Sammy, that you like late-night baking. What can you tell us about an 8:30pm chocolate fudge?
I've got a bit of... we all make a few mistakes after a couple of gin and tonics on a night out, but I've tried to make my mistakes a little bit more, just productive. And I've taken to baking when I get home. So I'm well known for showing up to work hungover with a tray of brownies or chocolate chip cookies, the beaters going at 3 a.m. It's not so bad.
That's a good one. So if you're hungover, that's a little pearl. Take treats into work the next day. We're going to move things right along and come up with our Hall of Fame segment with Nick Tedeschi. Nick Tedeschi joins us to talk Hall of Fame. Nick, you're nearly off my Christmas card list. If I see another tweet of you playing golf, I'll throw up.
Well, you know what? This might be a decent lead-in, but fair play to the New South Wales government for letting the battlers on a golf course.
Here we go.
As you well know, it's exercise first, second, and third for me. I'm all about personal fitness, and getting out on the golf course is entirely necessary.
Well, you'd think you'd be able to play golf if they're going to let you get off a cruise ship. Surely you can go around and have 18 holes with a mate.
Hall of Fame nominees, I'm sort of struggling. I was thinking Glenn Boss, but I can remember probably 2 starts back he's cost me a fortune, so he's not in the team for me. Sammy Todd, have you got anyone that you could nominate?
I was working on Sunday, just running the books, and I saw the biggest plunge I've seen probably ever out at Stawell on Easter Sunday. It was a Mark Pegas train, Costa Mayer, $91. It was bet early into $9 and ran on like a $5 favourite.
Wow.
Sickening. I laid it all the way down.
I didn't get any of that. Nick, did you catch that winner?
Missed that winner, unfortunately. Other things other than stall on Sunday afternoon.
What was that? Just sort of touching up on PVL's Wikipedia page, or what were we up to?
It's obviously a holy day. I assumed it. I said a bloke called Jesus rose from the dead, but I thought they mistook his name. It must have meant PVL.
the grandson of Jesus.
Who you got for us, Nick?
Well, it was a hard week. I was, had Bossy not have destroyed me so much in the past, he might have been in the mix. Willie Pike had a absolute fill-up over in Perth, but pretty boring putting Willie Pike in there. So we're going to go a bit out wide again. We're going to go with the great New South Wales Deputy Premier, John Barilaro, for our first political nomination into the Hall of Fame. John Barilaro, friend of rugby league, friend of PVL. He's smoothing the waters in government to get the NRL back up and running by May 28. PVL's got the money in the bank from the British banks. John Barilaro's figuring the way through for the government bureaucracy, all that red tape, rugby league. It's back.
What sort of
done.
what sort of pull would the bloke who's an elected member at Queanbeyan have anything to do or say with anything that happens in the Big Smoke in Sydney?
Well, for starters, he's letting us play golf, so there's one tick for John Barilaro. Also comes out and says, look, in these times of crisis, this is paraphrasing, times of crisis, what people need is rugby league. So obviously, he's got Gladys, who wouldn't know what she's doing, on board. He'll get all those health blokes into line. I don't know if you've ever been to Queanbeyan, Dicko, but pretty rough and ready place. I think he'd know where a few of the bodies were buried. I don't think he'd play fair, but I think he'd get the job done. I
think he would. He certainly wouldn't know where the university was, though. I don't think he finished school, so he's very, very fitting for Rugby League territory, this man. He went and worked for his father in a factory, then went into a life as a public servant. So this is a man of the people, by the people. Surely someone I'm happy to get behind.
Well,
not.
I think if I'm happy to get John Barilaro into the Hall of Fame if it keeps PVL out, because as I said in the past, they'll rip the walls down at Little Birdie if we put PV on the Hall of Fame. But to get Nick Tedeschi off our back, Nick, if you were framing a betting market of rugby league to start on May 28, what would the prices be?
$1.50 yes, $3 no.
And if you were framing a market on rugby league to get going in New South Wales, what would that market be?
$1 yes.
So you think they'll be playing in New South Wales, they won't be playing elsewhere?
No, the Queensland Premier is taking a very opposite stance of the great John Barilaro.
Has John Barilaro been in touch with the Kiwi side?
They're working with Jacinda now, just to get him across. Not so much the New Zealand side. Once they get over here to off New Zealand's hands, it's more working with the federal government to get New Zealanders into the country. That's the big issue. But you'd take $1.10 that rugby league will be played by mid-June at the very latest in New South Wales.
Well, that is good news.
Welcome to the Hall of Fame, John. Have a great week. Don't play too much golf, Nick, and we'll talk to you next week.
See you guys.
Time to take a break. In the break, there's not much to bet on, but when we're betting with...
Well, you'd want to have a bet with Top Sport, wouldn't you? The choice for smart bettors for over 25 years.
Up next, Sydney Racing. Welcome back to Little Birdie. I'm your host, Scoot, and with Dicko and Sammy, and we're talking Sydney races with Pistol. Welcome back, Pistol.
It's good to be back, fellas. It's been a very fun week.
Peter, it's not just fellas anymore. We've got a lovely young girl join the team, mate. We're a three-peat now. I'd appreciate it if you showed a little bit more respect to our female guest.
Well, I haven't met Sammy yet, so I was going to introduce myself in a cordial manner. So, Sammy, it's a pleasure. May these two gentlemen be treating you kind and well, and let you do most of the talking, because I'm not sure either of them really knows what they're talking about.
That's all right. We're here for some winners, and I hear you're pretty good at picking some.
I'm going okay. I found one at triple figures at Coffs Harbour on Tuesday, of all places. So I'm rolling in the green at the moment, which is good.
All pays the same currency, doesn't it?
Well, exactly right. But speaking of which, that's what we're going to start with, I think. Race 6, aren't we?
Well, you're leading the show, Pistol, and you're a past trumpet player I see in your Twitter bio, which is a story for another day. That's Pete Anthonisz, the wizard from the West. Pete, race 6 is the JRA plate. What do you like?
I am really struggling to get Shared Ambition at the current price of around $2.50, $2.60. Drawn out cast 15 for the Waller stable. Surely it just goes back to the last couple in run. I'm going to be siding with a couple that have been racing around in Victoria. Graceful Glamour did race last start at Rose Hill, and it does have an SP over Ocean X, which is the other horse that I'm keen to side with in that race. I think both of those gallopers will be on speed, and for my prediction of how Randwick's going to play on the weekend, I think inside draws will be suited, those closer to the rail, and inside probably 4 lanes at this stage I think will be the best in play. So for me, Ocean X and Graceful Glamour, I think both of those horses tick boxes. Ocean X in particular just wasn't suited at all versus the day last start, and I think we'll be ready to peak third up.
Let's have a look at the market, Sammy.
Well, the punters are agreeing with you there. We've got Ocean X has firmed a little bit in from $11 into $9. Graceful Glamour had a high of $13 before it settled into the $9.50 now. And Shared Ambitions had a bit of love too. It opened up at $3, got to $3.20 before getting backed into $2.70. Seems to be the best price out there though.
Yeah, Pistol, what do you think about Waller horses after their grand final? I know a lot of sharp punters that backs Shared Ambition to win the big race, the Doncaster. What do you think about that?
I just thought it was really disappointing Doncaster.
nothing.
It really had every favour.
There's nothing to like scream back me here. It's clocked the 57th fastest last 600 of the day. Where it wants to be hitting the line harder than that. I think you're just spot on here to go against it.
Yeah, I think the current price is mythical. If we're able to lay it at that price on Saturday, heavy betting around it, I'll be trying to take it on for sure.
Okay, and then you're pretty bullish one in the all-age stakes if we flick across to race 7.
Yeah. I mean, I know this is probably going to drive a few people mad because the horse has been up and down all preparation, but I just think Bivouac at the current price, he's entitled to be favourite here. He wasn't suited at all there last start. There was no intent. All of a sudden, he's got gate 4. He clocked an enormous split from the 400 to the 200, and he has a really strong starting price advantage over most of the key chances in this field, including the two in front of him in the market and Pierrata and Santana Lane. I'm really bullish on Bivouac here.
What about 1400?
No issue. He won the Golden Rose over 1400. He defeated Yes and Exceedance when he was flying. So for me, no qualms there. And I'll be saving Tofane because I've been sort of dancing around that horse a few times in the mailbag over the last few weeks. It's just been recording good splits. Our only stable's flying, and at double figures, you can easily save on that. But Bivouac just ticks every box.
There's a fair bit of lead in the pencil here for Pistoli with Bivouac. That's about as sort of firm as he gets. Sammy, what sort of price we getting?
Well, it's $5 at the moment, but it's been up longer than a boys' trip on Vegas. This horse has been running around since January.
Yeah, it has. It's a deep prep. What do you think about that pistol? Straight back over the French from Sammy.
The splits that was running, no issue. As long as he runs those splits that he recorded last week in the TJ or in the last start in the TJ, he'll go really close here. Beyond really close, he'll just win.
I think he'd be suited by the probably slower tempo early in this race as opposed to the TJ, which is sort of the setup which he's exploded from previously.
Yeah.
And what are you expecting with the track? Like drying conditions? Because there's a lot of horses coming off heavy runs here.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of that heavy form's a little bit wishy-washy, it must be said. It's hard to know exactly how much to read into that. But I'm expecting the track will probably be that good for maybe soft 5, depending on how much of the glue they've got out of it. But for the most part, I'm expecting it will be pretty solid, only light winds forecast. So it looks a good day for racing.
All right, we'll wrap it up and we'll keep it clean this week, Pistol. Thanks for your time.
No worries, guys. Always a pleasure.
And now it's time for Rob Scurry, and we'll talk racing and we'll talk wine of the week. Thanks for joining us, Rob.
Cheers, Scoot. Hope you're well, boys. And Sammy.
Thank you.
And she's on fire on debut. It's a big first-up performance. And speaking of that, in race 2, you like one that's first up from the Peter Snowden yard.
Oh, look, Snowden's not gone that well, but they've got to get a winner sooner or later.
Due factor.
Catch Me. Dicko know this horse. It's a bit of a head case. Watched its trials, still racing a little bit ungenerously, but it's got some sort of class. If you look through its form, it's racing. It's all the good 3-year-olds. This race looks like barely a Saturday race. It's a BM88. I'll be watching it closely in the yard, but with all 20 seconds I get to look at it, it'll probably just sit running to the gates, being number 13. But yeah, I'll stick to my double figures tipping, and Catch Me should go all right in the second at Randwick.
Having a look at the top sport market, Sammy.
Well, it's a tricky race. It's $6 the field, but you can get Catch Me at $12, 54 kilos. I don't see why not.
It sounds like a horse that's got a lot of your characteristics, Jack. Races ungenerously, erratic, lightly raced,
shown good ability. avoided the tougher races this autumn, and now comes here to cherry pick a beautiful little setup here. I think there's the 2 good trials. It savaged the line in all 3 of its starts last preparation. It was good versus the class. Standout form's good here. Exceedance form's good here. I think Rob's onto one here. It's good price, $12 each way all day.
And then the other race that you've identified as the Champagne Stakes, Roberto.
Look, this horse I've never been able to catch. Aim, race 5. I think it'll be much better suited back onto a drier track. It's masculine, powerful style of horse. I just don't think, as a general rule, that they go well in the wet. And again, around that double figure price, I think he should improve in a very, very weak Group 1.
There's not a lot to add there. I mean, the race that's coming out of Rob, I reckon, is extremely sus, that King's Legacy race.
And it's drifting off the back of that too, out to $2.70.
Well, that King's Legacy is $2.70, and it was 20-1 last start. The old SP profile aim started shorter, and look, I'm just going to go on the back of the. I think this horse will be suited by a small field, and certainly back to dry. I just think it's a bit of value about it. It's a total risk at $10 towards the end of the prep, but I'm going to stick with double figures here.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I sort of like the way you're thinking. I think Old Kirk will improve, but again, it looks a bit skinny at the $4 quote, and I think there's just too much percentage in the early markets, and we'll know a lot more about this race in sort of the last 5 minutes of betting. Now, Rob, I'm trending at about half a bottle of wine per day at the moment. I recently got 24 bottles off a good friend of mine.
You can sort of tell when he sort of sits down and crunches it there.
Rob, what can I... What am I buying next? Because I think I've got enough supply for another fortnight, and then I need to go to the wine shop. Tip us into another one.
All right. Well, I've been selling a lot of Matolo this week. So it's a McLaren Vale Shiraz. Back to the old McLaren Vale. Love it.
Is this what you sent me?
So yep, I've sent it to you. Em didn't like it that much. Too powerful, too masculine for her.
She's not going to...
more elegant.
She's not going to like that.
That'll do, man.
Anyway, but look, it's described as powerfully graceful. Sounds like Winx on a wet track, doesn't it? That was Sam Kim. And it's backed up by silky tannins. So in this pack, coming in at about $18, you get 9 of the Jester Shiraz. These are very popular lines. And 3 of the GAM, which is their $50 Shiraz. So at $2.20, you can't miss. All the pepper jack drinkers, get involved. This is value.
Okay, so give us one more plug. Matolo. It's a McLaren Vale Shiraz.
Matolo out of McLaren Vale, made by Ben Glazer, who's a champion of that classic, powerful South Australian style.
Beautiful, Rob. We appreciate your time as always. Is there an update on self-ISO and how it's going at home there, homeschooling?
Well, the 10-year-old's just getting into probability, so fair bit of Texas Hold'em poker going on. How many out? So she's beaten me about 5 times, straight up, heads up. So I just, I'm just saying I'm in teaching mode, really. Tell me when you want to play for your pocket money, and we'll play.
We'll leave
with her head.
Gamble responsibly.
We'll leave it right there. Thanks for your time, Rob, and good luck on the weekend.
Cheers, guys. All the best.
Bye-bye. And joining us now is our isolation expert, Ross Brodie. Welcome to the show.
Scoot.
I'm joined with Sammy Todd and Dicko. And, mate, I don't know about you, but I smashed a lot of Easter eggs last week, and I found a new one, the Ferrero Rocher Easter egg. So it's like the prickly Ferrero Rocher in the gold wrapper that you unwrap, but it's different. It's a smooth egg, and all the goodness is internal. So it's smooth on the outside and crunchy in the middle. Are you across those?
Wow, that sounds amazing. No, I'm not. I'm very jealous. That could be... Sounds like that's a job for me this afternoon. Try and find any that are still kicking around.
Well, I'll tell you what, I went to Target to get them, and I think they might be on half price because there's not many shoppers out at the moment. But what are you going to run through for some isolation tips this week?
So this week I thought we might do some ice cream power rankings. What do you think about that, guys?
Love.
Right up my alley. Sammy?
I'm an ice cream fan, more of a chocolate girl.
Ooh, controversial.
Controversy.
Well, you're in the right camp. You're in the right camp with Scooter and I with both of those, Sammy, because we often back and forth about both chocolates and ice cream.
When they're big ice cream people, they're not necessarily saying they hate chocolate.
Yeah, they're not mutually exclusive.
They're in both
we can
camps.
have both. Yeah.
I'm an ice cream man. I'm pen and chocolate. It's no good for you. You don't need it.
Well, so we're going to go reverse order. So can we do your top 5 take-home ice creams, Roscoe? Is that what we'll do?
I think so, yeah. Should create a bit of interest amongst the listeners. So my power rankings, top 5.
Coming in 5th?
Coming in 5th, I snuck in Frosty Fruits.
Big summer treat, isn't it?
Big summer, yeah. So that's why they sort of just snuck into 5th, because we're on the tail end of the warm weather. So, yeah, I think a bit like the Barney Bananas, which
mixed reports.
Not surprisingly, Dicko didn't know. Yeah, well, the support for most parts has been quite positive for me there, but there's been a few bit of negativity, which got me down a bit. But
I think
for the most part,
they went better than Wu-Tang.
Yeah, well, let's just wait till we get a bigger sample size on Wu-Tang too, because there's like certain things that I don't really regard you as a judge at, Dicko. Let's put it that way.
That's a nice little bacon.
Happy to cop the yard, maybe not so much other things.
All right, coming in fourth. So we've got Frosty Fruits at 5 on foot.
Frosty Fruits.
Yeah.
The fourth and third probably could go head to head and change depending on which one's on the special ticket at the supermarket. But the connoisseur ice creams on the actual sticks.
Yeah,
so,
I love the connoisseur on the stick.
Yeah, I knew you were a bit of a fan of those, Scoot. So, yeah, they come in fourth, and then Magnum third, obviously, which is once again a bit of a tried and true.
Very safe areas there, Ross. I was expecting a bit more flair, to be honest. But I'll tell you what, if it's a good thing, you can't knock it.
Yes.
Second?
Well, second, Maxi Bond.
Yeah, I love Maxi Bond, but if I've had a big feed, I shy away from the Maxi Bond. I need to have a light dinner and then just grapple with the Maxi Bond.
They're half a meal, aren't they?
100%.
They're a full sandwich.
They are.
They're not sweet.
They are, Sammy. Yeah.
Which end do you eat first, Roscoe, the biscuit or the ice cream? Because I've heard of some weird stuff happen with these sort of ice creams.
I've read some of this stuff on Twitter, and I don't know if I want to answer that question because I've seen some tirades against people, but I think this every time. I think I eat the biscuit first because then I eat the chocolate last because then the idea is that then I shouldn't have a chocolate after I eat the Maxi Bond.
Does it work?
You guys know me well enough to know that that's probably a questionable attack. Yeah.
Well, I'm a big hold biscuit, eat ice cream with the coated chocolate on top. I think that's
how they're designed, aren't they?
Yeah, it's like you're bowling reverse swing or something late in the day on a cricket match. But
you can bowl the sop man.
Bit of a drum roll here and first ranking. I've got a couple of questions and I'll throw in a curveball if he misses the top seed of ice cream here. But hit it with us. Okay. Hit us with it.
So mine is undoubtedly drumstick. It's clearly that would be my go-to before every other ice cream.
Why is that?
Drumstick. Just quality. Like it's got everything you want. Like it's got nuts, chocolate, ice cream, good cone, and it's the same every time.
And a little bit of chocky at the bottom.
A little bit of chocky at the bottom. So
it's a complete meal, isn't it?
Definitely. So drumsticks clearly my number one power ranking, and then either boysenberry or your standard vanilla for the drumsticks. I don't shift.
I think the crunchy like stick ice cream has been missed here, as has the Turkish Delight. But we'll get in touch on Twitter if you think Ross is wrong, which I do, and I will be. Ross, Wu-Tang, I thought it fell a bit flat personally.
How many episodes, Dicko?
Half of one.
Yeah,
M's lasted 15 minutes. So I was in there by myself trying to do the right thing by little Birdie and sticking through it, but it's just like, it was a bit fresh hellish. Anyway, what do you got for us week 2? What are we going to watch to get the time by?
Okay, so I've got a bit of little bit of an unearthed gem with Amazon. I don't think I'm not sure. Like a few people I know have got it, but it costs $7 a month to subscribe, and there's so much content on there. There's a lot of good NFL stuff on there. There's one that I just finished watching last night. They do it every year. They follow a team, and the last one was the Philly Eagles. So that's on there. Also, which much to Dicko's amusement, they have Blue Heelers on there. So I may or may not have watched Blue Heelers and then made the bad decision to tell Dicko that I was watching it, which I cop it about quite often.
Hey, I'm told that Blue Heelers is the gateway drug to jigsaw puzzles, so you better tread really, really carefully there.
Yeah, I've weaned myself off in isolation. I haven't watched it in isolation. But yeah, I can't tip Amazon strongly enough. And they do have the good movies on there, like the reasonably new release stuff. So yeah, it's more than worth the $7 a month. So, and then the other one was if guys have Foxtel, I I'm tipping a show on there that there's been 3 seasons of it. It's called Snowfall. I don't know if any of you 3 have seen
this is a newie.
No, I haven't seen this.
Wow, this is a pearl.
Yeah, so set back in the 80s when crack cocaine became big in America, but it's...
Well, that'll resonate.
Really
It's a
show.
strong start.
So, yeah, I just sort of stumbled across it a year or so ago, but, yeah, I hope there's a 4th season coming. I think the 3rd season was probably 6 months ago. But, yeah, it's one that it's not widely known, but, yeah, it might even be a HBO. Like, it's good production. So that'd be one that I'd tip to people. And then if you've got Foxtel, well, there's one you can't go past, which is very close to Dicko's heart, is a bit of Kenny Powers, Eastbound and Down.
Oh, I think if you haven't watched every single episode of the 4 seasons of Eastbound and Down, you haven't lived. It's probably the greatest show of all time.
I think it ranks pretty highly in the all-time ranking, something like 20% in series on HBO. Roscoe, there's plenty of meat on the bone there. So the $7 subscription at Amazon, Snowfall seems like a must-do, and then Eastbound and Down if you're looking to lock in and we get locked down for another couple of weeks. Roscoe, you've been brilliant yet again. We'll catch up next week for more isolation hacks.
Thanks, guys.
That was Ross Brodie talking isolation. And in isolation, racing's sort of the last show standing. And Dicko, we're talking databases. You use a database?
There's only one database, isn't there?
Which database is that, Sammy?
Well, with 7 years of historic benchmark data and ratings, Punting Form is the number 1 choice of horse racing professionals.
Coming up next is Rob Waterhouse. Welcome back to Little Birdie. I'm joined by Dicko and Sammy, and we're talking track bias at the moment. There's a bushfire rolling on Twitter between Nick Williams and Jake Norton, and the Caulfield track is under severe pressure. So we thought we'd get an expert in to talk about it, and that's Rob Waterhouse. Thanks for joining us, Rob.
Hi.
Well, Rob, you've written many articles over the last probably 5 or 6 years about track bias. You're heavily invested in the game in sort of all facets of the game. Jack and I bet significantly and heavily into the Caulfield tracks and tracks across Victoria in generally. Give us your take on this new RVL policy and how it's affecting wagering from your perspective.
Well, it most certainly makes the turnover on racing less, and therefore the money flowing on for prize money less. And I actually can't see an argument in favour of the track policy, except to satisfy people who have got the wrong take on how racing actually works. Every way I look at it, it's a mistake. It's a false narrative.
Yeah, it's amazing that it sounds like 45% of the trainers that voted for the new policy to come in, actually participated in the vote, and then 86% of those voted that they downgrade the track. So there's 55% of trainers that haven't heard their voice heard in a pretty serious matter.
Yes, well, look, the trouble is that trainers, dare I say it because I'm married to one, they're very good excuse makers. And horse careers aren't that long, and it's very easy to blame the tracks. But I've done several studies. The last one I did, which was actually published in The Age, we looked at, I think it was from 2010 to 2014, and horses that hadn't started 2 years after that, and what was the track they were on their last run. And we found that the softer the track was, the more likely they were to be retired. In other words, you broke down or came and went amiss on a softer track. Percy Sykes, the great veterinarian, says there are a lot more breakdowns on tracks with give in it rather than firm tracks. Now, I know that goes against what people say anecdotally, but it's just not true.
And looking at the last couple of weeks and probably since Blue Diamond Day at Caulfield, Jack, you're wagering you start betting through the day, and then you seem to taper off if there's a significant bias. Would that be true?
Yeah, I suppose the reason we started the conversation last week around this issue is because I believe, like Rob, that it's caused by the change of policy, and the extra water that's been put into particularly Caulfield has caused the track to race erratically and not to its usual pattern, which has therefore made me unable to make bigger betting decisions earlier until I've seen how the track plays, which has in effect lowers my turnover. And the bigger concern I have is that if Caulfield as a track has failed to handle the extra irrigation put into it to give it more cushion. What chance is a track like Bendigo, Kyneton, Seymour, the wider you go with the less facility, I think it's set up to be a complete and utter cluster.
Yeah. And Rob, now that you're forced off course, what's your turnover like? You'd be just a one-man band betting. I see you with the laptop there, and Gay seems to win a Group 1 every week at the moment. How's it affecting you, this isolation?
Well, I'm actually quite enjoying it. It sounds silly to say. And I'm still betting on the totes, which I've always done. But just by the way of the algorithm, our betting has to reduce each downgraded track. We bet less and less. I must say I've enjoyed paying a bit of attention to Hong Kong, which races twice a week on just 2 tracks. And they have I haven't seen any evidence of any track bias or whatever else, because the tracks are firm all the time. I think they might be described as ones in Australia. When I first started bookmaking in the early 70s, they used to race far more than they do now, but the tracks were always firm in summertime, and the tracks were great. You look, they're much easier to maintain. One of the problems is when you regularly water tracks, you stop the roots going down, and the tracks just give away.
Yeah, which you saw with Jake Norton's tweet where he was highlighting how chopped up Sandown was just from one day's racing in that rail position.
Well, then the reason, if you keep watering it every day, the roots don't have any need to go down deep. Whereas if they have 3 weeks with no water, of course, they've got to go deeper trying to find some moisture.
100%.
Now, Rob, I know you quite like your statistics. I'm just wondering, how much does the industry lose in turnover with each upgrade of the track?
Look, I actually got the TAB about 5 years ago to give me their figures and then arranged them in official goings, and it worked down that if it went to dead, it was 10% less. If it went to slow, another 10%. If it went to heavy, it was another 20% less.
And that's a massive...
So it's a huge difference. Hugely surprised me. I suppose a funny anecdote. I'm a great fan of the great horse Farlap, and made my wife go with me to a place called Aguacaliente in Mexico to see the race course there, which you can still see. Unfortunately, horses don't race on that race course, but they do have a dog meeting on. And chatting with the course manager, who couldn't speak in English, and my Spanish was terrible, I couldn't see what the prize money was until I suddenly realised the first dog over the line got 6% of the turnover, second dog 2%, third dog 1%, fourth dog 0.5% of the turnover. If prize money were paid in Australia in that way, the trainers and jockeys and owners would demand the tracks were firm all the time.
Yep.
Yeah, great point. Yeah, it's a big problem at the moment with tabs shut, Foxtel's on the brink, and then I think the free-to-air deal through Channel 7 is ending this week for New South Wales Racing. So Peter V'landys has got his own television crisis going up there with Racing New South Wales, and it's just amazing to see that he's doing so much in the NRL space to try and work on their deal. But Rob, that sounds brilliant. I'm sorry that I won't be able to see you at Warrnambool. I know you and Gay are big travellers of the Country Cup Carnivals, but a big thanks for coming on the show to talk about track policy.
I asked Gay, could I have a job as a strapper at Warrnambool? And she said, no way in the world. I said, I work for nothing. And she said, no. I don't know why.
She's a hard taskmaster, that's for sure.
I said, you can work for me as a clerk if you want. I said, I've done that.
Too good. Thanks very much, Rob.
All right.
That was Rob Waterhouse, and now we're going to cross the border to Adelaide to talk Irwin Stakes at Morphettville. Shane Adair.
G'day, everybody. How are we? Rob Waterhouse to Shane Adair. That's chocolate to ball lolly straight up, isn't it?
Mate, you were
very good last week, so we're hoping for a repeat performance today. We're going to start with whatever race that was called, which punters at home is race 6. Race 6, Morphettville, race 6. Take it away.
Hell of a race, this one. Irwin Stakes, G-Tra versus Sunlight. The bookies have it a race in 2. I think it'll be maybe G-Tra slightly. I can't get into any of them personally at the current prices. I've got them both marked at $2.70 equal favourites. G-Tra comes out of, obviously, the Lightning. It's got the score on the board. It's got recent race fitness. And Sunlight first up, but obviously you know it's class. Back through the Coolmore, the William Reid Newmarket winner, needs no introduction. Interesting point about Sunlight, actually hasn't won under 1,200 metres since August 2018, so I might find it a little bit sharp. Look, it's not a race that they can get too excited. As I was saying, the market's got a pretty well spot on. But as a racing purist, it's going to be a fantastic clash, boys.
Sammy, is the market telling us anything, or is there any lead early?
There hasn't been a lot of money yet. I don't think the pros are showing their hands. You'll see it on the day once you get some of those minimum bet laws coming in. Gytra is currently $2.30 and then Sunlight $2.60. You may get it out to the $2.70 you're after there, Shane.
We can only hope, yeah. Then we move on to the Redelva in race 7. This is the feature 3-year-old sprint. We see the likes of Keelong from the McAvoy Yard, Rocco Basharana, who I gave a good push a couple of weeks ago, is actually going to run, I think, this week. They did scratch last start. And Garner, obviously, from the Gordon Richards Yard, will take a lot of beating as well. It's another very tricky race. I'll be looking for definitely a market push here. Keelong does interest me from that wide gate. I think he can push and sit forward in the run. But I think we'll be looking for another push there, guys.
Can Sizzle Fly win?
I don't think it can, Dicko, no. I had it marked a bit longer than what is currently on offer.
Okay, and then let's talk about a race that you're keen on. Race 8, the Schweppervescent Stakes, over 1,800 metres.
Yeah, I'm keen on one in the Schweppervescent. I think we can get into, it's one of the colt horses, I guess, in this state. It's number 5, Wings of Pastrami, and he doesn't love Pastrami. Come on. And I've just been touched early in early markets. I thought the run last start was very good. Got a little bit of a touch of class, I think, as well, and Siren Fort can take a forward run. I think the 1,800 won't really bother it either. I think Realm of Flowers might be its nearest rival, so we'll go 5 from 10 in the Schweppervescent.
Dicko, what did you think of the run of Vegas Jewel first up at Bendigo?
Just a run, sort of fitness looked like it gave out. I think there's a horse here, though, Shane, that you need to keep a very, very close eye on. It's obviously been aimed pretty... I wish it was given a softer target second up here, but Under My Spell, number 12 for Nigel Blackiston. It was enormous and it was really kept safe in the market at Caulfield. I thought it was a $30 chance, but I thought we'd get sort of 50s. The market respected this horse there. It showed a lot. I reckon they'll find it again here. It's the sort of lightly raced horse here versus a few that have found their limit.
Do you think the 1,400 up to 1,800 is any concern, Dicker?
It closed in progressively better splits. It was... Its last 200 at Caulfield was the 4th fastest of the day. Its last 400 was the 2nd fastest, last 400 of the day. There was a big, big performance first up. It is a big switch, though, going from the GOAT, Damien Oliver, to Emily Finnegan, but you get what you get.
Quick look at the market, Sammy, and the boys' chances, a couple of roughies.
Well, there's a bit of value around if you can find it. It's $5.50 the field with Snap Dancer, the favourite there. And then we've got out to Wings of Pastrami at $6.50, $8 for Realm of Flowers, which you mentioned earlier. And Under My Spell, $20. Not bad. So $6 in the place. That's
each
not
way
too shabby.
all day, Sammy. We've got to have a little bit on the progressive filly.
It's heating up in Adelaide. Shane, thanks for joining us and best of luck.
No worries, guys. Speak soon.
Talk about bookmakers that we can trust. Who's the bookie we trust?
Well, Scurry, what do I do if I want to have $100 on a horse and they go, you can have 10 on it?
Exactly. Well, you need to go to topsport.com to do you. Why do you do that, Sammy?
Bet rejected. Time to sack your bookie and bet with a bookmaker you can trust. Topsport.com.au.
Throw your hands in the air like you're hailing a...
Welcome back to Little Birdie. I'm your host, Scoot, with Dicko and Sammy, adding a bit of class to the show. Shane Ciurleo joins us. Shane.
Hello.
Oh,
geez.
Now, Shane, you just speak at your normal speed, mate, and we're going to get Jane just to times that by 3 for our listeners at home. So you do you.
I'm dirty. I'm dirty on Scoot. I'd rather talk through you, Jack.
Well,
really.
That works for me.
I'll pump up your tyres a little bit. I won't talk about your music career, even though you're a budding singer-songwriter. From what we've seen on Twitter, at Toowoomba Tips is Shane's handle. He's done a little bit of Hilltop Hoods if you're keen to watch a recorder into some Australian rap. It's unmissable. But last week, you tipped Minji that was $5.50 out to $7. Very impressive stuff. And then Music Maker $2.30 out to $2.60. Can you believe they drifted last week?
Well, I was pretty up and about, like in my predictions, and I got the prices wrong in the way the price would move, but we got the right result. So I was surprised, but anyway.
Now this week this week you got a triple header. You've got Gold Coast, Brisbane, Toowoomba, and then there's even Ipswich on Sunday. Have you got a couple of tips for this weekend for the listeners?
Look, I've got a couple in Brisbane that I think while they may look short at their current price, they are the clear best horses in the race, and they'll both win. I'm confident. We're going to go with the leading Queensland combination of Tony Gollan and Bailey Notiff here. Start with race 4, number 2, Angus the Black. Everything's a tick here. It's around a $2.10 mark at the moment. Everything's a tick. It's just ready to win in this field at this trip.
Savage the line last start there, didn't it?
It sure did, and the extra trip suits, and it'll be winning here, I think.
What sort of price can we get there, Sammy?
Well, it's $1.95 at the moment. Clearly the one that we're keeping a little safe, but I think this one may get up.
So this is a sort of bet until it hurts job. Responsibly.
Responsibly.
Gamble responsibly. Always do it responsibly. But sometimes the responsible thing to do is put the shoulders back and get stuck into a price.
And you like another shorty on the card, race 6.
Yeah, it's coming for a bit of support, this number 14, Nidorp. Same combo. This is just a class above these. There's really here, the wide gate's even suitable because he can just come across at his own speed. He'd be too fast for these. And I think it starts closer to $1.50 than the current quote.
Well, that's a significant market move.
Currently $1.80, so you wouldn't want to mess about too long if that's the prediction.
All up.
Nice little
All up.
Michael Dublé.
Now, Curly...
You always break your own rules on these shorties and take it all up.
So you are suggesting a little dabble, little victim out wide all up?
Of course.
Now, Curly's gear is available, Scurry, at themailbag.com.au. You get it via the app. And what meetings do we get this weekend, boys?
Gold Coast Friday. We've got 10 of the best at Toowoomba on Saturday night. That's going to be really good fun. And then we go to Ipswich on Sunday, where there's going to be about 9 or 10 of the best there as well. So we're going to cover about 30 races over 3 days.
Beautiful stuff.
There's not much to do in isolation, but if you want a pro punter to hold your hand, Shane Ciurleo's the man, and he may just add a little ditty after Sunday night if he has a winning weekend. Thanks, Shane. You've been absolutely extraordinary yet again.
If you were going to get a pro punter to hold your hand, though, like you want them to hold your hand in North Queensland, it's wild up there. You need help.
That was Shane Ciurleo, and now we've got Snowy. Thanks for joining us, Snowy.
How are we, boys and girls?
Good. How are you, big guy?
Not too bad. I've got a little welcome clip for our newcomer this week. I copped a bit of flack last week about walking the tan hand in hand. I believe she's a big fan of the exact same thing. She's been spotted a couple of times around the tan.
Ooh, that is saucy.
Is there anywhere you don't have little birdies?
A nice little clip first up for her, and I wouldn't laugh if I was your scholar. You're my man this week. I'm into a bit of fitness, right? And you like riding your bike. But this buying a full Lycra suit and parading around with it around the MCG is not on.
That's not sweet. Is that true?
Not on. He's been riding around in full Lycra kit.
Is that true?
Spotted multiple times.
Is that true?
No, that's not true. But
do you own Lycra kit?
I don't own any Lycra kit, but I did buy a brand new red Haro mountain bike from Ivanhoe Cycles, so they've done a great job there.
What do you wear when you ride it?
I just ride trackies and a nice little jumper. It's a family ride, so I'm not really getting out of second gear. I'm not going towards the Tokyo Olympics.
You'll be shaving down your pins in about 2 weeks' time, won't you?
Well, Jack,
that little bit extra.
Has been clipped, that is confirmed.
Well, if the gloves are off and everyone's just bare knuckle fighting, which it sounds like we are, Jack thinks that three 6K runs for the week have got him qualified for the Tokyo Games next year. So,
Jane, defend me here. This is my sixth day. This is my 7th day without a dart. This is the 7th time in a row I haven't woken up in the morning, walked out, turned on the beautiful Breville machine, heard that sexual hum that is my coffee machine as it roars, as I roll up a beautiful Winfield Gold number and just go outside and suck down that flavour. I haven't done it for 7 days in a row, and I started trotting slowly. 6.5 minute Ks aren't sweet, especially when you start doing 4 minute Ks. I'm shattered with where I'm at, but I think I should be applauded, supported, not taken the piss out of.
You do seem a bit
agitated.
agitated.
Another one on the scooter. I haven't finished with him yet. I'm a fan of the Mailbag TV show, which I watch every week. I was watching it last week, and I was a little bit concerned when the cleaner has gone into the bathroom.
Yeah, we'll cut it there, Snowy.
Himself and has found a pink device.
Now, looking at race 8 at Caulfield, You've found one. Speaking of finding one, what do you like at Caulfield, Snowy?
What have you heard? What have you been in the hut again?
Well, I've been in the hut and also at Flemington. The main bet this week comes from race 8, which is Masked Crusader. It won like a very good horse in the spring, and the word is that it is absolutely flying. It's had 2 lead-up trials. The only thing, it is third emergency, so we need to get a run. But if it does get a run, then I think it should be winning.
Beautiful. That's race 8, and number 19, Masked Crusader. What price for getting there, Sammy?
Well, it was $3.60 into about $3.40 at the present.
Beautiful.
But I think it should definitely be thereabouts if it runs. And in the last, I rang Clint straight from the hut. John Sadler is very keen on scores chances in the last, and it has got your main man on, Dicko, Mark Zara.
Have you been having Mark Zara nightmares, Jack?
Yeah, each time I bet on the horse he rides. And I watch it live, and then I have to watch the replay 4 times to fill the database. He rides score
7
here.
7-1 for score.
Race 9, number 9, score. Price, please, Sammy.
It's $6.50, pretty solid. The market hasn't had much movement.
This is actually just a complete grey-up race for me. There's a horse here, number 3, Ocular. Now, I've done this race and I found Ocular and I found score. I think Moonlight Maiden Affair to remember will just be having gallops aimed at good races in Adelaide. I backed Ocular at $4.50, something around that. Scooty, reckon, about there?
Yeah, it sounds right.
Started $2.60 at Sandown, was ridden extremely cold and savaged the line, Charlie Sheen style, and just missed. Now we're up in grade. Dwayne Dunn jumps on. It's drawn inside. Is he going to show any intent? Mark Zara and Shay Eden would be the 2 hardest people for me to catch at the moment.
A little bit of $7.50. You thinking each way all day?
I'm thinking about just letting the whole race go and looking after my mental health in these non-smoking early days.
Tough days.
Snowy, thanks for the stitch-up. Sounds like we're all square, finally.
You were due for one, Scoot. I've targeted your mate there a couple of times, so you're due.
That was In the Know with the snow. Big show, guys. Well done. Hope you all enjoyed it at home. Probably the biggest talking point out of it, Scooty, Sammy. Ice creams. Did Ross miss? Did Ross nail it? I think he missed, but we'll take the debate to Twitter at Little Birdie Pod. Find us on Twitter, and we'll have a fresh and probably a little bit more accurate power rating next week.
It was a little bit vanilla, pardon the pun there, but a big thanks to our sponsors, Punting Form and topsport.com.au. See you next week.